Vishnu Gurudevo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Yo mame vamasammudho janati purushottamam sasarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate Vasudevaha sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dear friends, it is my great joy to be with you this morning, and I hope something very special is going to be manifested through us, through each one of us. I have a very special soft corner for all of you, even if I don't know so well all of you, but in this moment you are present here with me, and I know a few of you for quite some time, and I want you to go deep into your uniqueness, and that uniqueness is your absolute divine expression as yourself in human form. What you can accomplish, you can accomplish, no one can accomplish. What you can think, no one is going to think. What you can feel, no one is going to feel. What you can manifest, no one is going to manifest. Just because God within you is so wonderful. God is so wonderful, God does not have to repeat himself or herself or itself. Ever new, ever new, ever new, ever new. My only presentation is that I will be a facilitator for all of you, and I will share my thoughts here and there, but otherwise my purpose is to ignite your own fire and to share with each other in its raw fashion, without any formality, without any fear, and without any hesitation. And I am going to share in a few minutes, just to remind you, I believe, or it is my conviction, that whatever we do, good, bad, both, it is not initiated by so-called this individual ego that is called Shantji or Joss or Ryan or whatever your name might be. That is only just like a river is flowing, and in the front of that, in that particular place, in India we call those places ghat. Ghat means a river has been cut in the bank in such a way that you can move into the river to take your dip and swim and come back. In all places you cannot go and take a dip. So those places that are dug in the field that you can enter into the river for swimming and dipping and diving, those places are called ghat. So now we all are ghats. The consciousness is flowing. And sometimes people have preferences. I will take a dip in that ghat. It is the same river, but ghats are different, and ghats have their own charm, own glory, own specialities. So just like that, same consciousness is flowing through all of us. We only represent those ghats. And because of those ghats, we share our experiences, what is flowing in the body of river and how is river for you or for me or for anyone. So I want you to see how you think. Do you create your thoughts or thoughts just show up? Then you make decisions about your thoughts. How do you decide whether you will go for this thought or this thought? Whether you will buy this house or that house? Whether you will go for this girlfriend or this boyfriend or this girlfriend or that boyfriend? How do you decide anything? The more you have investigated, how do I make a decision? It is very deep. Don't think that because someone is a PhD and all that, so he or she knows, I don't buy that. It is much more deep. It requires much more calmness, much more purity, much more truthfulness, much more integration of personality in daily life. Then you can catch it. What I am proposing, you do not make any decision. I do not make any decision. Nobody makes any decision. And yet all decisions are made for all of us. Through you, through me, through all of us. And we take credit and blame. I made the right decision. I made the bad decision. So when we get that it is not me, then all heaviness, that is because we all want to prove how wonderful we are, how great we are, how whatever we are. When we realize that we are nothing, absolutely nothing, it is just a system of speaking, then we fall flat. Fall flat means we live through this body and mind, but our ego has no more bickering of that kind. So I want you to explore how do you make a decision. And once a decision is made, then body automatically follows. Like my body did not decide that I have to take coffee. It has been already decided. Hand will automatically reach and put the glass in the mouth. So your ecosystem is based only on this belief, I am making this decision, I have to make this decision, I have made this decision. This is all your considerations on which you either feel proud of yourself or you feel lousy about yourself. And once you realize, now realize is a very difficult word. Like I know fire burns. How do I know fire burns? Because I have been burnt a few times. If I have only heard there is some this or that, it is not my clear conviction. Once you have been burnt, you know how to deal with fire. So a person who sees with his eyes and who is blind and who talks about seeing is very, very different. You have got to know as a spiritual seeker whether this person talks about seeing or this person is able to see. Whether this person talks about swimming or this person is able to swim. Whether this person talks about flying an aeroplane or this person is able to fly an aeroplane. You cannot know unless you have tried in your own life. That is the whole thing. Many spiritual seekers, they are the spiritual seekers, but then they get easily carried away by the jugglery of words. So I am asking you to catch what is the jugglery of words. And don't be carried away with the jugglery of words. Try to see if you really realized you are not the doer. If you are not the doer, who would try to liberate the whole world? Who will try to care for occupy? Who will do anything? And yet you know your body will do one thing or the other. Somewhere your body will be present. Somewhere you will be talking something. Somewhere you will be hearing something. Somewhere you will be sharing something. So how that sharing takes place through your body and mind. Once you catch that, in my understanding, if you really catch, then you become liberated. The myth has been created by politicians that once upon a time there was a great Buddha. Not that Buddha was not great, Buddha was great. But there have been many other Buddhas who come and go. But politicians don't know anybody to know that there are other Buddhas. Because then they create revolution. But politicians means greedy people here I mean. Those who want to have control over the masses. They put some people on a pedestal, and they put others have no brains, and they are just like sheep. We need a shepherd, Jesus, Moses, Buddha. They can be shepherds for us. We are just sheep. And persons like me, at least, whether I am deluded or I have any realization, I don't buy that. So I am challenging you to be Buddha. I am challenging you to be Jesus. I am challenging you to be Krishna. I don't buy those stories, miraculous stories. Though there is never lived a human being who did any miracle. That is my conviction. All miracles were done by the same power. That is sitting through me, that is eating through me, that is raising a hand through me, that is listening through you. It is all one energy field, one power. It is all one mind. So when you catch in that light, and when you recognize your oneness with that force, then you know your body like your shadow. Do you care where your shadow falls? Just like that, you don't care where your shadow falls. You don't care where your body is and what happens to this body. This body has been brought into the form, and this body will be one day be out of shape and dissolve. So you live in that kind of utter freedom and conviction. It was not my responsibility to create this body. It is not my responsibility to maintain this body. It is not my responsibility how this body would get one day dissolved. I want you to explore this time with that perspective, so process each other with that focused attention and be as much blunt as you can be as brief as you can be. While I am enjoying my coffee, once I have finished my coffee, then I would share further. From my side, Om. Om means whenever you share any thoughts, say in the end Om or Jesus or Moses or Krishna, Buddha, so people know you are satisfied with your sharing of your ideas. Nobody should interrupt anybody. So when I say Om, that means I am satisfied. Om. Which one is my cup, sir? Okay.
Thank you. I've been battling myself with understanding of free will and of decisions that people make and whether or not it is acceptable to blame them, like so many are willing and so ready to do. And I have held a conviction that to blame is unfair. To blame is to say that they had a complete understanding of all aspects of their action and did it anyway. And I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that people are consciously aware of the impact that they have in every realm at all times. And therefore it's not fair to blame them. And as you were saying, that God makes you do everything that you're doing anyway, so to sit there and blame Him for His actions is to sit there and blame myself for His actions, because I am Him. And I am also blaming God then, and attacking God in some way. And I felt that was wrong. And you have just added to that exponentially, I would say. You've thrown me into contemplation. I want to talk about the colors that I see, the energy in the air. I was at a concert, a piano concert, several days ago, and he was world-renowned piano player, and he was amazing. And his energy, I could see, it was immense, as I can see yours and his. I saw yours a moment ago while we were sitting talking, and it was very big. I appreciate that. And I often see energy in the air. I see color right now, in here, here. It's a rainbow. And it's almost like static. It's you kind of have to focus, but you can't focus on it. And that energy carries with it this feeling of intent laid upon the area where I'm at. Some areas feel freer. Some areas feel weighted. And I feel the weighted areas carry more pressure and strife and seemingly negative things, but I don't believe anything's negative. It's all necessary so that we can understand in this way. I questioned God for a while. Once I started understanding this, I started wondering why my mother had to suffer so much. Why does she have to experience pain where others don't? Is it something that she did? Is it something that I did to not feel that pain? Is it something that can be helped? And I started thinking about all the children in Africa and around the world who are starving and why that happens. And then a calmness came over me. And I started not questioning it, but realizing that diamonds are created because of that same pressure and heat. That push a piece of coal and it creates. And that everything was created in the sun because of pressure and heat. And that's just that pressure. And we, like all people, attach a notion to it. Like some people say that a major scale versus a minor scale in music sounds happy versus sad. But it just is. Like the cheetah and the antelope. The cheetah isn't bad if it gets the antelope. It's not evil. It just is. And if the antelope gets away, it's not evil because the cheetah's pups have to starve. It just is. And I stopped questioning, and I became much happier in that. In doing what my heart tells me to do. When I walk through the street, I try to wave to every person. I tell them, I hope you have a good day. And they get taken aback by it. And they look at me and question, what does he want from me? But when I keep walking, they know I don't want anything other than for them to have a true, beautiful day. And I realize that that's a pressure too. And it can ignite creation just as much as it can create destruction. And that's what I wish to create beauty in each person's life, create knowing. But I also know that I can't worry about it. I can't be upset if I can't. That was a hard thing for me to come to have my friends who I've loved not be able to just hear my word and understand how I feel, not to be able to just, it's like me trying to describe what my fist would feel like if I punched you in your stomach. I can't make you feel it just with my words, so I can't make them feel what I've felt and come to understand with my words. And it was hard for me. I got angry, like I said. I got upset. I questioned God. Why is it okay for me to know? Why do you show me if I can't show someone else? Why is it okay for me to know? I don't want to be alone in this. I want to share. And in that pressure that I pushed on myself, it created new ways for me to speak and new confidence in me to learn and to be able to learn. And my goal is to seek a stepping stone walk path of truths that I can walk people on. Walk with me for a moment and let me show you this garden. I want to be able to understand the mind so well that I can look at a person and know exactly where they are in their understanding, know exactly how they feel, know exactly what they need to feel better, what they need to understand more, and guide them on that. I want to create a universal stepping path for awakening. And that's why I created the Awakening Room and Storm Creation on Facebook. I wanted to gather as many people together as I possibly can who understand and who are trying to understand, to help others understand and to help others not feel that aloneness that comes from the separation, the fear of not knowing what's real, the fear of not knowing who I am, the fear of being so disconnected from love that you want to actually hurt others. I personally have never felt that alone to where I wanted to actually inflict pain upon others. But I know people that do. And I know people that just want to hurt themselves and are oblivious to the beauty that goes on all around us. And in my mind, I see that it's not.
You can turn it off.
It's not evil that creates pain. There is no evil. There is just love. There is just God. There is no darkness. There is no Satan. The Satan is the disconnection. The Satan is the possibility of misunderstanding. The Satan is the gap. Satan is our ego. Satan is the thing that keeps us from seeing God and saying yes to God at all moments and just accepting and not questioning. And that's, I feel, why they called Satan Lucifer, the questioner, the person who challenges God instead of going with the flow, instead of accepting and uniting, challenging and disconnecting and trying to be separate, trying to be better, trying to be more than God can be. And I feel like when you were saying to me about who is acting through us and who guides us and where our thoughts come from and why they're there, I feel that I once felt that it was evil, that it was wrong, that we feel this disconnection, and that we were like tricked into feeling this disconnection. And we once used to be born and just accepting, and just like children, and just giving and loving, and it was wandering and playing and learning. And I felt that the disconnection was unnecessary, and I felt that it only created negativity. But at the same time, because of that disconnection, because of that bubble that we keep ourselves in, we have created all this technology and all of these musical instruments to try to understand ourselves and to try to understand life. And it is the universe through us trying to understand itself. It wants to walk around, so it created us. It wants to learn about itself, so it created science. It wants to learn about the possibilities of feeling and emotion, so it creates all the negativity and the disconnection so that it could experience it and fully appreciate and understand it. And it's like that the universe is observing all things at all times, and it's observing every pain, every death, every pleasure, everything all at once. And sometimes it needs to relax from that, just like we need to sleep. If we didn't sleep, we maybe go crazy because we have too much going on. We need that moment of peace. And I feel that our lives as humans and as other creatures, even as this table, it's God sleeping and being able to experience, so that it doesn't have to have the burden of being all the time and accepting. When I saw that loop that I was telling you about earlier, that time loop where everything was repeating, I had realized that I was every person that has ever been murdered, and I was every murderer as well. And I was the knife, and the victims' families, and the murderers' families, and feeling all of those pains and all of those dynamics all at once. And that I was also the sun, and I was also the space between myself and the sun, and that it was all perfect. It was all in harmony and balanced and just perfect the way it is. And we add to it, even though it adds through us. But it's still clouds. And like you were saying before, it's already in us. It's not something we have to go and find on some mountaintop. It's here. And when we take away all those thought bubbles, all those thought prisons, and we take away all of the expectations of life and expectations of other people and the labels of things, and we are able to pull that out and exist in that awareness, in that reception, that receiving nature of us. I feel like the difference between myself and the tree is that I'm a transmitter as well as a receiver, and the tree is just a receiver. It's just accepting everything that it's given to it. And it doesn't question, it doesn't do anything, it just lives and lives the best it can with its environment. And I feel like to be like God is to be like the tree, to be the receiver, to be the understander, to just be the observer, and just to take it in and take it for what it is and no more. And we cloud it, and we doubt ourselves, and we fear, and it stops all of our action and all of our creative potential and all of our joy that is possible. And also our self-mastery, it stops it. We doubt it. We doubt ourselves, and we doubt the goal. We doubt that there even is a God, which is incredible to me. I can't believe that. I mean, just look around. I mean, everything that's going on this second in the entire universe on every level, just incredible and beautiful and amazing. Every moment. And we forget that. And I'm going to quote that movie I mentioned earlier, Waking Life, where we think that some moments are holier than others. So we look for that moment, and we long for that moment, and we think about it like, oh, I can't wait for this moment so that I can feel more holy. And then other moments you just want to skip over so that you can get to the holy moment. But it's always a holy moment. Every single second, it's a moment of beautiful harmony and bliss and creation. And it is, I know, beyond a doubt of what anybody could try to tell me or try to convince me that that's my mission, is to be at one with that knowing and to give it to as many possible people as I can, even if it's just in a smile and a hug, and to keep them connected and not in their head feeling pain, because connection with another person is what we long for, not to mention connection with God. And we try to fill that gap within us with everything we can think of, with toys and games and people and money and power, but it never will fill it. Only what will fill it is that love, that pure love of being. And you made me realize something, that when I was trying to project what I wanted, I was trying to be like the greedy people, the ones who want to control, the ones who think that they can control. And then once you think you can control, you want more and more and more and more power, versus just being, versus just letting it go, letting all that go, and just accepting and loving. And if I can help people, I can. If I can't, I can't. And I can't. That's up to God, not me. And it's very freeing to just let that go, to not worry about who I'm going to help, or who I'm not going to help, or who I'm going to hurt if I say the wrong thing. Like something I was thinking about you, and also Ganesh Baba, which I was reading about, was that he would be very forceful sometimes, but not mean, just very direct. And he would shatter egos and speak from his heart. And people could tell that he wasn't being egotistical or judging them or damning them. He was simply saying, look, this is what you're doing. This is the result of you doing this. If you want that to continue doing this. If you don't, then change it. instead of trying to belittle them, he was just saying this is what's going on. And some people didn't handle it well. Some people were like, wow, he's being very, very mean, and they felt all these things, and they got in their bubbles and started programming this response of negativity or whatever, or judgment or doubt upon this person's capability to understand themselves or myself. One thing I want to comment on is I've been trying to pay attention to the feelings that I feel around certain people, because I feel very empathetic, and I feel that I absorb what's around me. And when I'm around certain people, I feel a certain way, and when I'm around others, I feel a different way. And when I'm around you, as I'm experiencing this now, I feel awake, I feel alert, I feel very easy to pay attention to what you're saying. I feel like I can connect things very easily. I'm not clouded by anything. It's just very refreshing to be around a vibrating person as you. It's refreshing, and I thank you for that clarity that you brought me, even though God brought it for us. To thank you is to thank myself and to thank God. In my psychedelic experiences, it has got me to explore what is happening in these psychedelic experiences, what the chemicals are, what happens within my own mind to let this happen at all. And I started reading about what happens when you sleep, and the chemical that's released while you sleep to connect your consciousness back to the source, so that you can recharge and feel alert the next day. And that chemical is the same chemical, basically. There's a little bit of difference, but it's in mushrooms. So that when I'm taking them, I'm trying to connect while awake to the divine, to connect to that dream state, that dream wavelength, so that I can experience in that way. And I feel like because I was experiencing that and I was open to it, and I asked within myself, I said, please show me. Please give me what I need. And it did. It gave me a strength and an understanding, and it gave me all these visions, and it took me a literal year, to wrap my head around all of it, and to be able to speak it, and to be able to be confident in it, and understand it. And I wonder if, well, I know, I guess I should say, I know I can do it without it. I know I do not need the substance to do it, because it's already within me, and I can just meditate and bring that out. And I feel like that's what Buddha and Krishna and all the other previous Buddhas before those did, and Jesus. They meditated, they did yoga, they strengthened their body and their mind, and the connection between the two, and the connection between the third connection, which is the divine, connecting all of them and uniting with it. I don't like to say him, because I don't believe it's a man. I don't believe it's a man or a woman. It's both. It's both. It is. I sat there holding a piece of bread in my hand, and I was tearing the bread apart, and I suddenly realized that I was God, that I was observing what truly was, and not what I was attaching to it. I was just observing the bread and how it tore apart, and the structure of it. And I didn't add an emotion to it. I didn't add a thought to it. It was just straight receiving. And I saw the efficiency of that kind of learning. The efficiency to take emotion out of the equation. To take your attachments out of the equation, to not attach this new thought that's coming in and then process it and then put it in whatever category I want to put it into, but to just take it for what it is. And that reminds me of a sermon that Buddha did, where he just stared at the flower and just kept staring at it, without labeling it, without identifying it as a flower or something in his hand. And it became, as Eckhart Tolle says, a window into the formless, a window into the unchanging, the divine. because the changing was the mind, the changing was the thoughts, the changing was the emotions. But the reception of what is unchanging. It is. You and I all see that the sun is up right now. Regardless of what I think in my head, it is. And that's how you know it's the truth. Because it is. It's not, oh, it doesn't matter if I'm here or not. It doesn't matter if there's an observer. There is always an observer because God is the sun. And it is the space in between. And it is the trees that collect its light every day. And it's beautiful and amazing and humbling to know that you are everyone and that they are divine and equal with you, as well as with the air. I'm no better than the air. I can't be. I mean, it's me. How can I be better than my left hand? I can't. So I can't be better than you. I can't be greater or anything. I may have different skill sets. I may be more proficient at certain skills than others or different tasks, but I'm not better. It's just relative experience and knowledge. I want to say thank you again and Om.
So before others share, I would offer a few comments. I think you are born to be, in your own words, a transmitter. Whether transmitter means a teacher, a preacher, or a singer, divine singer, or whatever. So because there is a natural flow with your energy, with your explanation, with your joy, with your own words, with your own images. So that's wonderful, because many are not called in that fashion. So a few of us who are called to serve existence in that fashion, they are in a different class. So I recognize you, you are quite in that different class, where your calling in life is to share this conviction. Whether you share this conviction through your music, through your words, through your being, and that is what you have to do as far as doing is concerned. And that whatever still you have, as any other human being, some load like you have to take care of your mom, you have to pay your debts, and you have to take care of your house. Somehow live your life in such a way that no, whatever I need will be provided for me, or God will use this body to manifest that without me making a doer. How? It is very critical, this thing is very critical to understand. For all deep spiritual seekers, not for shallow spiritual seekers. Deep spiritual seekers are who go beyond the realm of relativity. Not that they don't have body and they don't feel cold and hunger. No, not in that sense. They all feel cold, hunger and all that. But they know it is not for me to take care of the cold. It is not for me to take care of the heat. It is not for me to take care of whether this body lives or dies and where it will live and die. What it means? Like it is not up to me whether I remember to breathe or I forget to breathe. Breathing continues. Aging continues. I am getting more and more old. My hair turning colors without me doing anything. My blood is being circulated. So it is all done. God is so mysteriously wonderful that it is already done, and yet it is being done at the same time. So when you reach that conviction, that is a big, big leap. Let me share one beautiful couplet that was big, rather prodding factor for me from Gita in Krishna's Gita. I am repeating the couplet. अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो माम ये जनाः पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम्. Its literal translation to my understanding is, according to Krishna, those who seek me exclusively, those seekers who seek me exclusively, it is my responsibility that I protect whatever they have needful for their life. And it is my responsibility that I provide for them whatever they need. It is not for individual Tom, Dick and Harry that I have to wipe my ass. Krishna will give me enough energy and inspiration for my hand to wipe my ass. Krishna will not come to wipe my ass, but Krishna will not goof off. It is that kind of conviction reaches that. When that really pierces you in and out. All structures, I have to do this. It all shatters once and for all. And that is what is required. But that is a big leap. Unless all your fears and unless all your attachments are somehow transcended, are somehow burnt, you don't come to that conviction. So as a spiritual seeker, we must try, as long as we are there as a doer, I have to do this. How to reach that conviction? Like Jesus is sharing, tomorrow's bread will be provided by tomorrow. Live in the today. God, give me the today's bread, that's more than enough. But now we all are living insurance. Even so-called we spiritualists, the whole mess that has been created, if there is any mess in the world, has been created so-called by spiritualists. Spiritualists, so-called spiritualists, not real spiritualists. So-called spiritualists are taking, oh, I have to create this university, this hospital, and this humanity. No, according to my common sense. No, the job as spiritual teacher and seeker is live through that conviction. Whatever comes, share. Whatever you will need will be provided for you. Let others do what they are doing. They are doing beautiful things for creating universities and roads and hospitals. Your job is only to be in your divine consciousness. I don't have to do anything to love anyone. Love will automatically manifest. A mother does not pray, oh God, I have to love my child. Love comes automatically. When we are done with our own ego system, we don't have to do anything to love others. Automatically we feel, oh, it is all same divine self. So, to whatever extent you have still human consciousness, work on it. What it is that I am still focused at. My fear, my this and that. When somehow that is transcended, God will use it in whatever way God pleases. A great musician, a great teacher, a great traveler, a great dancer, whatever. All these concerns are taken out of our consciousness. So thank you for sharing your calling, and I want all of you to share your calling and be as blunt as you can be and be also as brief as you can be, so that everybody has got a chance. What is your calling? What is your struggle? What is your bondage? What is your fear? What is your light? What is your joy? Whatever comes to you, oh.
I think that's one of the hardest things that we struggle with, I struggle with, or have struggled with. I think I've gotten much better at that, is the realization that the harder you try to control yourself, the less control you'll have over yourself. It's how it always felt to me. And like when I realized that idea of just letting it be provided for you. I've been going to this place, it's called FA, it's Families Anonymous, so it's like Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous, but it's for the family and friends of drug addicts. And that's one of the first steps that they teach you about, is to just stop. The more you try and control, say, your drug addict, the less respect he'll have for himself. and then in turn the less respect he'll have for you, and the more things will spin out of control. And that if you can just step out and let be, then control becomes meaningless. Yeah, the whole idea of control, at least in my sense, for the personal me, becomes a meaningless concept. You know what? Like you said, my blood's going to flow anyway. I don't control that. So it's just meaningless to think about control in the sense of anything, really. Oh.
Beautiful, beautiful. And in the beginning, it is very important to know the difference to whatever extent we have the sense of doership. We should not philosophize to convince ourselves I am not a doer. That becomes a cop-out. I have seen in my whole life many spiritual seekers, especially Vedantins. They become the greatest cop-outs because they have learned the jugglery of words. Oh, I don't do anything, so I can drink, I can go to a prostitute, I can rob, I can rape, it is not me raping. It's this kind of clever kind of logic, and they are very clever, ordinary people cannot trap them. But if you have awakened consciousness, they cannot run away from you, you can trap them very easily. I have seen even this young man, I don't know how enlightened or non-enlightened he is, but he can even catch jobs. Because when people come with logic, you can see that, how they can bite both ways. So, as long as we have the sense of doership in the sense, like I am sitting and thought comes, I think of my mother. Now either I can say, okay, mother thought is good, I can more process or contemplate on my mother, or I can say, no, mother thought is just mundane thought. I don't want to put my energy into mundane thought. So I do not focus on the thought of mother. And then my guru's thought comes. And I say, oh, guru is divine for me. He led me to some spiritual special practice. So I am contemplating on the thought of guru. So this power of focusing attention. We all have the power of focusing attention. That is what doership means. I have the power to put my attention on this thing or that thing. On this, I have the power of putting my gaze either on your face or on her face or on his face. It's just like that. As I have power to change my gaze, I have the power to change my focus. So when you have to use your power of focus as truthfully, as heedfully, as consciously, as willfully as possible. When you use that power, whether you use that power for saving days or saving years or saving minutes, sometimes you get to a higher dimension. My God, what do I do to pick what I end up picking? Whether this thought or this person or that job or that car, then you go to a higher dimension. But you don't have to imagine all that. It comes automatically. That is the whole thing. In a spiritual pursuit, like when a chick is born and then after some time the wings get a little bit more bigger and bigger, then they take a chance and they can fly. But they have to wait. Whether they are able to fly or not, they cannot imagine my mom is flying so I can fly, I will be killed. So it takes some time to process. Acknowledge your doership. I can do, I can pick where my attention goes. I can pick what I am doing with my body. And when you keep on picking, according to your own truthfulness, according to your own common sense, according to your own life, then you go to a higher dimension. So, beautiful, I very much appreciate your conviction, and just keep on rolling. And keep on telling yourself, as long as I decide I have to pick, or I can let go. Like I say, I let go and I don't let go. If I go deep into this, what do I do to let go of the thought of that drunkard or rapist or prostitute, and what do I do not to let go of that thought? When you go deep into this, my God, what is this? Do I do anything to let go of my shit? What was the color and what was the shape of this morning shit? As I naturally don't want to think about my shit, it was my own shit, it was not anybody. So what to think about? Automatically your consciousness becomes more alive, more alert, more divine. It goes for the light, for the grace, for the universal awareness. So then you realize, my God, what is this effort? Like I see my reflection in the mirror and I say, I should not feed my reflection in the mirror, I am not in the mirror. I should not put tea or coffee in the mouth of that reflection. And I don't need to do that. I know I am not there. Here is my coffee. This body needs coffee, not that reflection. So just like that, something dawns. But let that something dawn. Keep on hoping that it dawns, and when it dawns, you feel differently automatically. Like when you wake up from the dream, how do you feel differently? You were drowning a couple of seconds before, now it's there is no river, I am not drowning. Just like that, something clicks within you. And then you know, you don't have to tell anybody, oh, I have awakened from the dream. You know, and when you know, others know if they know, otherwise they don't know, so who cares? You do whatever you could do in your most loving, sweet, kind way, because you have become everyone. So, from my side, oh, now any one of you, oh.
You said, Swami, that when the thought comes, you power up to choose that thought. Like, let's say, if the thought came, your mother, and then you did not give the preference to choose that thought, and then your Guruji's thought came, and you prefer to choose that thought. So, choosing the thought, not to think about mother, but think about your Guruji, it's like still we're picking up something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say that slowly that process makes you that you're not picking up that thought,
Mm-hmm.
you're not the doer. So that practice will automatically unfold, not to be bringing the thought. So let's say like occupy thing, some people are doing, some people are not doing, so whatever, but nature is bound to do that's why in all over the world these things are happening. So maybe it's like a revolution is coming, so somebody started that burning, and now slowly it is taking time, and people are spreading all over the world, all over the country, and slowly, so that means is the process is being taken place to burn up and something to happen. So my question is about the thought that Guruji and that. How do you decide that you don't want to choose the mother's thinking and you want to choose the Guru's thinking? Is that because that Guru's thought about Guruji's thought or something which is making you more pleasurable? That's why you choosing your conscious is choosing that thought. Is that's why we that thought is coming being more superior than the other thought? Oh.
Okay, very good question. One thought is better than the other thought is decided for 2-3 main reasons. The most fundamental reason is our own experience of life. Our own experience of life is like I have gotten a few times drunk. So I know what is the experience of drinking, and I have taken a few times juice or milk. So I know the impact of drinking in my life, and I also know the impact of juice taking or milk taking in my life. Same way, sometimes I have been too much sleepy and lazy, and sometimes I woke up in the morning and I did my yoga and I did my meditation. So I have experiences of those kind, that when I keep on sleeping, I enjoy while I am sleeping or giving in to my desire to keep on lying on the bed. but when I have really taken time to get up and do some yoga, how did I feel? So this is on the basis of personal experiences. All human beings are exposed to experiences of pleasure and pain. Those of us who for some reason have been more refined and purified, they can easily go from the negative side. Negative side means only this side, that gives you right away pleasure, but in the long term more problem, more frustration, more confusion. And those things that give a little bit itchiness in the beginning, but after half an hour or 2 minutes or 2 days, it gives you great joy of self-mastery. That is why I don't know, I still remember now since you asked this question, when I was playing like a young boy, I might have been maybe 7, 8 years old, and my father was being strict on me, go and do your homework or don't so much. And I thought as a smart boy, what is wrong with my father? He is quite a rich man, and I know when he will die, I will inherit his property, and I don't have to do anything for my living. And here I am having a good time in running around, playing hide and seek, and this man is where he is lost. Why he is preventing me from this joy of play? So see the childhood logic. So in that childhood logic also something starts perking up in the consciousness. What is really joyful, peaceful in the longer term, and what is joyful and pleasant in the shorter term. That is why in Gita, Lord Krishna has very beautiful shared, Yat tadagre vishmi pariname amratopamam tat sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. Krishna has shared that pleasure which is bitter like poison in the beginning, but in the end it is sweet like nectar. Those seekers who have got more refined consciousness, they go for the nectar. They don't care for the immediate kind of bitterness. So from one's own experiences, one get to recognize whether overeating is good, or disciplining in overeating is good, oversleeping is good, or a little bit exercising is good, and being clever or not keeping word is good, or being truthful and keeping word is good. So this is on the basis of one's own experience. Second is the teachings of the teacher. Some of us are lucky to be exposed to certain teachers or a teacher. If you have faith in your teacher, then you trust that he or she will not misguide you. Somehow you become sure that he only sees, he wants to see me only more happy, more free. Like a mother, I don't know if there could be any bad mother, but generally all mothers want the best for their children. So your spiritual teacher also wants the best for you. So your teacher also guides you, entertain such thoughts, don't entertain such thoughts. So that is the second inspiration or guidance comes from the teacher. Third is the scriptures. There are certain books that have been respected for hundreds or thousands of years. So those books, when you read, you don't read them like a newspaper or a novel, because those books have been put in a high pedestal, like in the Bible, Gita, and all other those books. So whenever you have any doubt and confusion, you lean on those books, what that book is telling. So these are the three basic guidelines: your own experiences, your teacher's teachings, and your scripture's teachings. So on the basis of three, you decide whether the entertaining the thought of your mother, and here mother, instead of mother, put a prostitute. Whether you would like, you visit a prostitute, or you wanted to visit a prostitute, or a casino, or any place.
Like if you're drinking whiskey, you know that that's for short term,
Right.
giving you pleasure.
Right.
But getting up in the morning,
Right.
or going for walk,
Right.
the long term is more pleasant.
Right.
Okay.
Got it. So that is how, on the basis, these are the three factors: scriptures, teacher, and your own first-hand experiences of life give you the basic foundation, what is really worth entertaining and what is worth ignoring. That is why nowadays I
So
don't.
at the moment, let's say, for that moment, he likes to have a drink,
Okay.
and that gives him joy.
Okay.
And one, she wants to go like a casino, and that
Sure,
for
sure.
him the pleasure is same value or same equal to going to that, and for him he likes to go for walk,
Right.
morning walk for like so, but he's taking his best decision, what was the effective decision for her, what was the effective decision, and for him effective decision to for walk.
Right.
So what is the how to choose, or what did he do to choose or not to choose going for a drink, not for walk? What can he do if this is everything pre-planned, or if it is happening, and if he's not doer, if he's not doing anything? So what is his fault, or like to choose having a drink and whatever? What can he do? That means still there is some room to do something.
Say, oh,
Oh,
now he's willing to share, so let us hear from him. Oh,
Yeah, I was just thinking that with regard to that question, that a lot of it's based on our conditioning, and that's what freed me up a lot, is to see that it's based on our conditioning. That's how we decide what we decide. Social conditioning, family conditioning, everything we've learned growing up. So if you see someone who's gambling, it's based on their conditioning that they're gambling. Even if they think they made the decision whether to do it or not, that decision was based on the whole history of their life, even social things that never impacted their life, the whole social construct of the world played on that decision. Everything your parents did before you, impacted that decision. So it really is, there can be no doership claimed for that decision on either of their parts, because it's based on their conditioning, even if they're claiming doership. Oh.
he gave a very sophisticated answer and very true answer. But in the beginning, one should not go into those sophisticated answers because one can fool oneself. When one is ready to go into that where he already sharing, that is very true and correct. So one has to keep on checking within oneself where he is clicking.
Slowly.
Yeah, where he is clicking. As long as we click it, that it is me choosing whether I should be near sitting in the bathroom, or I should be sitting in my puja room, or wherever I feel exposing myself to the sun, or I should expose myself to the computer or television. All our experiences we know which are giving us kick for the moment and which are giving us kick more in a lasting basis. But he is absolutely right that all those things are determined by conditioning and all that. But I would say one should go slowly. But once one reaches that, if one really reaches that, then there is nothing more if and but. Because once you reach that, then suppose here is Buddha and Krishna and Jesus. I can say all that, whatever is required to make everybody happy. Like suppose Obama comes here, we will get up and show him, Mr. President. But that does not mean I care for anything else. He's just the president, so I have to show that demeanor kind of thing. You understand? So we can show that demeanor to Krishna, Buddha and Jesus. But if you have caught that light, what Buddha has got especially, what Krishna has got especially, it is just like more those people who are in the what you call world championship. What you call those games that are called. Oh, he has got 5 gold medals, 3 gold medals, 4 gold medals. So Krishna has got 100 gold medals, Buddha has got 50, and Jesus has got 51 or whatever, and I have got none. But I am a human being. I also feel the pleasure. I also see with the eyes. I don't have gold medal. Does that mean I am less human, less divine because I don't have a gold medal? So you look at life from that transcendental point of view. That it is the same light shining through all of us.
same divine.
Same divine. Like we are different mirrors and the same sun is being reflected. Some mirror is set in such a way that it has a better focus and better, so it is more light, but it is nothing more. It is only reflecting the same sun that I am reflecting. You understand? Oh, your turn. Keep your spine straight. You are a little bit. You are still young. Keep your spine straight. Yeah, always do more yoga. Be more. Yeah.
I don't really have anything to say.
Tell what is your fantasy, what is your struggle, share something, share your humanness. Everybody does this first. See, I did not know when I was growing up. I realized now a few years back, there is a particular doctor like I am going to show you, and then you will also do. And see the impact of doing it later. How it changes what you have been thinking before and how you are feeling before will be radically shifted just because of that couple of moments. What was that exercise? Let me show you first. That's it. Try. You also try and watch your thought and feeling. First watch and what are you feeling and thinking now, how you are self-conscious or not self-conscious, and do that exercise and then compare. Try.
Okay.
You did not try madly. Be more mad.
Okay.
It is a sound. Did you find any difference? Okay, then you need more hard and tough training a little bit. So keep yourself exposed. While a little bit more yoga, more running, more headstand, more this and that, more massage, whatever. Live from the raw place. You are still more protecting, more comforting. Being juicy and comfortable is alright. Indulge any way you please. But other times be more austere so that you get in touch with your divine spark. What is your experience? Did you do that exercise or not?
Not
Do
yet.
that.
Well, I feel warm and more lighthearted.
Good. It works. Okay. So anything else? Again, any other problem, any other issue? Otherwise, always for you in the beginning have a candle flame. Okay? Light your candle and look at the flame. And don't care to stare. Do you have any candle? Bring right now. Let us do now.
Shantji, can I tell you, I have to leave in 1/2 hour. So if you're still going, I won't make a disturbance. I'll just go quietly.
Very good.
1 o'clock.
What?
I feel like when you were talking about, the 3 influences that make you decide what to do, from my own experience, like my intuition always knew what I wanted to do, but the more that I studied my intuition, the more I questioned it, and then the more I was like, well, maybe that's not really what I want to do. Maybe I want to do this. And that was my mundane experience, until I got to a point where I just let my intuition be what it is. And then, so when I would take actions before, because I'd be studying my intuition, I would be like, all right, I'm going to do this. And then I'd be like, oh, man, I think everybody thinks I'm a weirdo. And then I got to a point, well, I'm in a process right now, to the point where I feel like I don't run from that anymore. I know that I can just let my intuition do what it does, and if you don't like that, that's your problem. I'm sorry. And I think that whole concept of non-doing is that whole thing of just letting your intuition be who it is. And that doesn't mean that you have to become passive. It just means that you don't struggle against yourself.
Very good. And I would like you a little bit further. When you say you don't struggle against your intuition and being, when you realize you cannot struggle in it, there is no damn possibility that I can slap myself. What do I mean? I am not made in such a fashion that I would be inclined to hurt myself, to cause pain in myself. Unless for some reason I am getting some kick out of that pain. So I am always doing whatever I am doing for the sake of pleasure, freedom, happiness, bliss, transcendence. All running body of water, no matter how dirty the water is, they are all going in that direction of the ocean. So get to that conviction that I don't have even that choice to goof off, not to respect my being. It takes you into more space of that. There is no such consideration that I can go wrong.
Sort of like, instead of choosing to be being, like you're saying, I'm choosing to be,
Right.
rather than just being.
Right. And when you realize that my being is not based on choosing, what do I do to choose to be or not to be? It goes beyond that. Somehow keep on processing the way you are processing and go still little bit, just the last one. And when you reach that, then that's it. You become like a floundering cloud. You go here and there and yet you don't know where you will end up. To the extent you know, you say, I have plans to go there because that happened in that moment, but it's just like that. But you are doing quite all right. Let us do a few minutes for this exercise, otherwise I will forget. It is very simple and very practical. Always, as long as you are inclined to do something to motivate yourself, like you do some yoga, you do some exercise, it is for the mind. How to keep mind focused. So you put more far away from you, it is too close to you, in the middle, like that. What happens, you just look at the flame and you can blink whenever you want to blink. Don't be too serious what I am telling. And when you feel your eyeballs are tired, then close your eyeballs. And when you enjoy the visualization of that flame in your mind, you keep couple of seconds or even a minute your eyes closed. Otherwise again open your eyes, but don't move your eyeballs left, right, up and down. Not moving the eyeballs left, right, up and down creates that steadiness. And you please keep your spine straight unless there is a reason for you to be so. Yes, keep yourself. Yeah. And try a couple of minutes. I will be also trying. Your palms and put your palms around your face. And remember, your mind, what you call, runs here and there with the movement of the eyeballs. If you just take care of the eyeballs, without moving left, right, up, down, you can close your eyes and just like that, your mind automatically becomes still. So whenever you have some inclination to keep your mind still, do that couple of minutes. And you can see the difference in your being.
Vibrate.
Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, vibrating stops. Yes.
I have noticed that I I've always had wandering eyes. So like recently I've been trying to look at people and just
Beautiful.
stay right eye contact because I used to like.
Right, right. I
do this
understand.
all the time.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I've noticed that a lot. Even there, like I'd be looking at it and then my eyes would be like, shh, shh. And then they'd come back, but just every once in a while they just. Shh, shh.
I think, if I may, that it's when we start thinking about our eyes that we move them. It was in sociology, and he was saying that systems operate perfectly when they go unnoticed. When you start trying to think about them, you falter. It's kind of like when you, like I've said this to you before, but when you ball up a piece of paper and you throw it towards the trash can and you make it your first time, and then you try 10 more times thinking about the motion and everything, and you miss every time because that first action was just being and doing instead of contemplating and taking yourself out of your body and putting your consciousness into a thought up here or wherever, and it takes you away from the focus. I want to share one more thing. While I was doing this and while I do other meditations, I see almost like a negative image of a camera, and it appears here and all around, and I see a veil around all matter, all things. There's a subtle like force field around each thing, and even the air. And the more I just am still, the more I pay attention, the more it comes. And then I try to look at it, and then it goes away. And it's part of that thing I was talking about with unconscious systems, how they work better when you were just observing instead of trying to pay attention.
Now you have not shared, otherwise I think all have shared, so please feel free. And
The main thing I was thinking of is when we're born, we're all born pure, clean slate, and we're free thinkers. And as we grow up, I've noticed that it seems like the older you get, the more they try as a collective society to repress your mind. And you lose that ability almost to just be free, not even just in the world, but with yourself. And I noticed that, like, through growing, that I don't really understand the challenge of why you go from being a pure free thinker to where people become where they have to have these walls put up, where they, grow closed-minded because, of the hard times they've had or things that have happened to them, things that happen in the world to other people. And I wonder, the main thing I have questions on is why it's such a hard challenge to get back to being a free thinker. I'm pretty open-minded myself, but as far as like humanity as a collective, I just don't really get why people have to go to that and they can't just stay from that childhood state of mind until the day we die being a free thinker. Like, I understand you have to go through your peaks, your valleys, the good times, bad times, because without the bad stuff that happens to you, you would never understand anything of what goodness is. But in that same aspect, why does it have to be, I guess the best word is just a challenge. Why do we have to go through those processes? I know we have to learn from things, experiences in life, but why in that same aspect from learning does it also create the same idea of closing off the mind from everybody else? Disconnection, like he was talking about earlier, the disconnection. Like, the purpose I'm trying to understand is why that disconnection has to happen from, like, when you're a pure, clean slate. As far as, like, as far as like for people to learn, I'm trying to think of how close it up. I guess the ultimate, what is the purpose of it? You know what I mean? Like that's the thing I question a lot is why do we have to go through these struggles and lose one's pureness? Well,
That's very beautifully shared, your question, and it looks very simple, but in a metaphysical way, it is the most profound, deep, mystifying question. It is like why God has to become anything other than God. Anything other than God means not that God is not already God, it is like the mind becomes the dream world. And in that dream world there are so many friends and there are so many enemies, so many problems and pleasures. Same mind, one mind can become so many characters of the dream, and mountains and the rivers of the dream, flowers and bushes of the dream. So this question is not really answerable because God, as God, cannot know God. Knowing is only possible when something is not quite as transcendent and as pure as knowing. Like I know you, how do I know you? There has got to be some layer of duality. This knowing is also recognized in something that is other, that is not quite knowable. So the ultimate consciousness that knows everything, there is nothing there really. It is only oneness. So how can oneness experience oneness? When you process that question, you get into some kind of a divine la-la land, where there are no thoughts, no emotions, nothing. So in that la-la land, God, that your own being, somehow could not experience the magnitude of this manifestation. Computer, girlfriend, boyfriend, richness, poor, poverty, youth, old age, grey hair, this, that. So all the multiplicity of this manifestation comes only with some kind of a twist in consciousness. So it is presented in that way. It is God's playfulness. It is God's self-entertainment process. It is God's amusement. And it is God's mystery. Like an effect cannot know really the cause. Like I wrote sometime, if you can catch, let me share in 1 minute. If you are dreaming, and in your dream, you meet, suppose you meet me in the dream, and you ask me, and somebody had cheated you, or your girlfriend dumped you and ran away with your money and poisoned you, but somehow your life is still alive because Josh came and gave you some drink, so you got your life saved. But you say, and I am quite a famous mystic in your dream, and you said, Shantji, what is going on here? I thought she was my sweetheart and she poisoned me, she ran away my money, and Josh came and saved my life, and why am I here? Who created this world? If you ask me in the dream, who created this crazy world that my sweetheart poisoned me and ran away my wallet, and tell me, I am very much lost. You seem to be quite a liberated guy. So I say, oh my God, okay then, take easy and meditate and do. And you say, how will it help me? I said, keep on doing. Don't ask me how will it do. And when you keep on doing, because you trusted me somehow, I'll charm you. And you woke up. And then when you woke up, there is no Babaji. Babaji means Shantji, who was giving you the holy sermon of do this. But you got some answer. Why that girlfriend showed up, and who created the world, and who was the Josh, and who was the Babaji. You understand? The mystery of the dream cannot be resolved in the dream world. You have to wake up from the dream. When you wake up from the dream, the questioner of the dream is no more there in the waking land. Who was asking me the question? That guy who was asking the question in the dream is no more when you are awake from the dream. Do you catch that? So somehow as a spiritual seeker, we have to wake up. When we wake up, all these questions, why and how and all that, they go away. It is just the God's craziness. God is crazy. I am crazy. That is why we are here. Oh,
That's weird that you mentioned that about my girlfriend.
oh really?
I was thinking the same thing too.
I'm actually going through that with my girlfriend.
She poisoned you?
No, she might
She
as well.
took out the wallet.
she might as well got the wallet. But yeah, I have a kid with her on the way in January, and yeah, it's all bad between me and her. But and especially when you started talking about the dreams and talking to you in the dream or something like that, I actually have prophetic dreams all the time.
Wow.
Since I was a kid, like I've had dreams of places I've never been to before, and then like the one when I was a kid, I had a dream about Noah's Ark made out of popsicle sticks and toothpicks, and it was huge, and it was in this big case, like a plastic, the poly whatever crap case, and later on down the road, I was in a youth club when I was a kid for like church and whatnot. We went to this museum. It was like a wax museum for like church and things like that. And by the time we got to the other part of the lobby, there it was, Noah's Ark made out of popsicle sticks and toothpicks, exactly like I saw it in my dream, exactly in this plastic see-through case, exactly how I saw it. And it's happened like that my whole life, like friends dying. My friend Mike in high school, Mike and Ashleen, I had a dream 2 weeks before they died, exactly how they died to the T.
Wow.
Like car accident, car flipped, and I've been having dreams like that my whole life. So that kind of also stuck out for me when you were talking about, talking to you in dreams and things like that, because I do have prophetic dreams.
Oh, so now since his time restricted, so we will give the floor for him unless you want to say something before he goes or shares. Oh,
May I really quickly? Something I've been kind of experimenting with in just my concepts of the world is redheads. They're orange as the earth vibrates. Orange. The earth vibrates at C sharp. And if you keep that out, I don't have to tell you that. That's why you wear orange, I'm sure. But the earth vibrates at orange. And I feel that the majority of my redhead friends, and I have quite a few of them actually, all of them seem very open and very aware of others' thoughts and feelings, and have had many different kind of psychic experience. His mother woke up from a dead sleep, drowning. She said, I'm drowning, I'm drowning. And at that same moment, they live right by a lake, a girl drowned.
Oh boy.
A boy drowned that same night, just a mile away from them. And not even
quarter mile, if that.
Yeah, and she's redheaded as well, and I feel that for some reason it's just like the receptor is more aware.
Feels like we're really in tune, because there'll be times when I'm thinking of stuff and he'll be like, "Dude, I was just gonna say that," or he'll present an idea, or I'll be like, "Yeah," and go on saying something else that was connected to it that it talked about a while ago or something. It's definitely something I've noticed.
oh, so your floor.
Well, I was just going to point something out that I thought of while you were talking, and then something again I thought of while you guys were talking. And it was, how do I make a difference in somebody else's life? That impulse that you want to, you have some understanding and you want to pass it along, to the extent that you can. And, I was talking after Thanksgiving about whether I ate turkey or not, because I'm a recent vegetarian. So in the story, I didn't write whether I did or not. And one of my friends, Sunya, who's in Truth Group, said something to the effect, and he's right, of it doesn't matter which impulse you chose, or that chose you or whatever, they're both ego. The spirituality, the urge to become more spiritual, to be a vegetarian and all that stuff is the same ego decider that would do the other way. So in trying to share with people something that's important to you and something that you believe, there's got to be a measure of getting yourself out of the equation where it's no longer your burden, like you were saying at the end of what you said, it's no longer your burden of sharing, that you're just like an instrument of that sharing, if it's going to happen at all. And like if a saint was going to perform a miracle, like turning water into milk or pudding, for example. They're not thinking about, like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to turn the water into pudding? It just happens through them naturally. So just following our own, the signs that life provides us, and trying to stay out of our own way and not make it our obligation to do anything, and just trying to stay aware and follow life's adventures. That if you're meant to have a positive impact in somebody's life, it'll happen through you without your own doing.
Did you want to say something?
No?
I agree with you, and I was going to share something else kind of similar. Similar, I'll just say. I was walking in the grocery store yesterday, getting a few things, and a person was not exactly courteous to let me by. They were just kind of like oblivious to my movement. And I made this thought, and then I laughed at the thought because it was like, well, that's not a positive thought. That's not one that's going to help me or them. And I said to this other person who was walking by, who I often say to, I just speak to people, and I say, I hope you have a really good day. And then I thought to myself, why didn't I say that to the person who was apparently rude to me? What made me inside say they're not good enough to accept that? And then I turned around, I walked back to them, and I said this to them, because I said, no, that's my own ego doubting. That's my own ego stopping me from wanting to help that person because of how they impacted my ego. And in regards to what you were saying about the 3 things that make you choose to do what you're doing and how you're doing it, it has to be positive on every aspect of it. If I do a task or an action, if it doesn't benefit everybody involved, it's not a worthy task. It's not going to help anything. And if I get helped in the end by that task, that's good, but it's not the purpose. The purpose isn't to help myself, it's to help everyone. And when I judge my actions based on that, how will this affect other people? How will this affect myself? How will this affect even the universe around me? And if it's not all positive, in the experiences that I've held, in the books that I've come to agree with and believe in, and it's like a code of conduct, you know what I mean? And I'm like, if it falls under that, it's acceptable. And that, I guess, would fall under my experiences and the guru teachings from the teachers that I've known, even though I would say that I think my strongest teacher has been myself. And I haven't had many spiritual teachers be like, this is what's going on. It was me really taking a bunch of hallucinogens and rattling it all around and trying to explode my mind and then look at it and say, well, why does this happen? And why does that happen? And why is this pattern in my life of experiences and reactions from other people? And it's based off of the actions that I've done and why I've done those actions. And I was oblivious to how other people were seeing because I was assuming that they understood me. I was assuming that they understood what was inside of me. And that was a huge error on my part, but at the same time, created pressure for me to understand that. So, as long as it's positive, the action will be right.
Let me share one more thought. This term ego is very, very heavily discussed and misunderstood. Ego has 2 different meanings, and we have to understand in both forms. One, ego is simply the instrument of thinking, feeling, being, living through the body. It has no any other thing, good or bad. It is like I am speaking to you. How can I say I am speaking to you? I can say I am moving my hand. How do I know I am moving my hand? And who is this within me that claims I am moving my hand? So I want you to know it is the ego, or it is still the ego, but it has no layers of judgments. That I am good or bad because I can move my hand. It is not good or bad that I can see through my eyes. It is not good or bad that I can hear through my ears. Okay? So in this sense, This ego is absolutely sweet, innocent, pure, nothing, no bad feeling. When the ego is used in that kind of fashion, ego is considered bad or confusing or delusional when it takes individual credit or blame. It is me deciding to see through my eyes. It is me deciding to hear or not to hear through my ears. It is me deciding to move my hand this or that. So when your ego realizes it has no power of initiating any decision or any thought or any desire, then it is flat. It is, you will still use I am walking, I am moving, I have eaten, I have not eaten, I have to go to bathroom. Still the ego, but it is free of those judgments. So the ego that we have to be free of, it is that ego which has the coating of judgments. That I could do, I could have done this way, or I can do this way, or I will do that way. Other than that, ego will be always used for speaking purposes, whether it is used by Jesus, Moses, Buddha, or Krishna, or anyone. It was just by the way. Now I am more conscious about your time. Whatever you want to share, whatever you want to dump, whatever you want to glorify us all, and then how many minutes you have. I don't want you to be anyway in a rushing mode. So you showed up to empower me or to bless us or to be blessed by us. That was your grace, and the floor is for you all.
I was thinking, in case I didn't touch on why I brought that up, was because you made that comment about your girlfriend and about the dreaming, and both of those ended up being true. And it's not like he said, "What am I going to say to you that's going to like blow your mind because you're dealing with it in your life right now?" It just naturally happened on its own.
What's weird also is like when he was talking earlier and he was going Buddha, yada yada, Jesus. And it's funny, I'm actually a musician, like a performer. My rap name's Red Buddha. So I thought that was kind of weird that you just happened to turn and point at me, as you were talking da-da-da, Buddha, and then earlier you were talking, you said something Buddha, and you turned and waved your hand over at me. I was like, all right. So it kind of threw me off there too, so yeah.
So the whole issue of how do you touch people's lives in that way shouldn't even be a question that comes up from my perspective. It's just something that naturally happens when you put yourself in tune with your surroundings.
Kind of going with it.
Mm-hmm. It'll happen despite your own intention, almost.
And even like how he was talking about how redheads are like very in tune, interconnected. When my friend Bugsy, that I've known since I was like 8 years old, had decided to take his life, I was with my ex-fiance and we were out at some restaurant or something. And for some reason, I just had gotten really, really mad. No reason. I was talking to her, everything was going on fine. And just this overwhelming anger, like pain, just like, And I decided, I'm going to get up, go to the bathroom, figure out why I'm getting so pissed off, I couldn't figure it out. And by the time I got to the bathroom, I got even angrier and angrier. And by the time I gotten in the bathroom, I just exploded. I punched the paper towel dispenser and just shattered it. It was one of those plastic front ones. Mm-hmm. I just drilled it as hard as I could and just broke it into a billion pieces. Well, after that, my hand was all cut up. I was cleaning up and shit. I was like, I gotta get out of here. I can't get in trouble for this. By the time I got back out to my fiance, she had told me that my mom had called and there was something wrong. And I called her up. I said, hey, what's going on? I was like, what's wrong? She's like, you just need to get home. I could hear it in her voice, something was bad. And the first thing I thought of was my dog Bruce, because I had the dog for a long ass time. So that would affect me, in a negative, sad way. But she was like, no, it's not Brutus. You just need to get home. And as soon as she said that, by the time we got to the car and I was driving down the highway, I already knew what happened. She didn't even tell me. Like the whole way home was like, please tell me you didn't do something stupid. Please tell me you didn't shoot yourself. And by the time I got to my mom's house, she had told me what had happened. I already knew. And that's like how in tune I was with him, because he was my best friend, since we were kids. That's why I'm in tune with him a lot. I've known him a long time. Similar minds, that kind of thing. And like I definitely felt the energy, of being connected to people as a whole. You know what I mean? Not just myself as an energy, but energy is everybody collectively. Because as soon as he shot himself was when I was getting mad. When I got angry. And I think when I punched the paper towel dispenser is when he actually did it. Because that was when I was at my most pain, most anger, couldn't understand anything, couldn't figure out why I was feeling the way I was. And that's what it was, is I just felt that connection, that spark of life that had extinguished at that point. So it was definitely a weird experience.
I'm sorry to hear about your friend.
Thank you.
Did you have more to say?
No. Actually, it's 1 o'clock, so thanks very much for
Thank you.
having us, having Shantji. Thank you, Shantji, for coming.
Keep on shining.
Yes, sir.
And before you encumber yourself,
Okay.
Do you need help
Come out.
carrying that stuff?
No, I don't. I'm okay. Thanks.
come out again soon.
Okay.
And rolling, if you want to play, drum something for 2 minutes before you go, you can create some energy. If you are already late, then my blessings.
Couple minutes?
Yeah.
I got a couple minutes. You want
Please.
to
Yeah,
bring out a
sure.
guitar or something?
Well, actually,
Yeah.
my friend is bringing the guitar. He's not here yet. I left it at his house, so I'm like, I only have my electric, and I don't want to bring my electric out for that. I would rather play my
I
classical.
saw it slid on the carpet.
So I'm sorry. I was hoping he'd be here by now, but he's not here yet. So I will
Smoke a cigarette right quick.
Yeah.
next time. I will say. I want to
Do
focus
you want
on
me to
you.
put this can?
Yeah, put it.
Well, I don't have my tabla here, so
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about soloing on these. I'm just
Well, the reason I'm saying that is because I know
So
myself.
maybe I'll
Go
wait.
Go what? Do you want to grab it real quick? Or is
Oh,
that
shit.
Oh, the tabla?
That's that excess chi level coming out.
You know?
Probably would take me too long to set it up.
Take a little break, everybody, in whatever, wait till
Okay.
15 minutes
Well,
later.
next
if
time.
you need.
It's no,
Yeah, next time.
no rush.
I'm gonna join.
Thank you.
Yeah.
for the cigarette.
Sure.
For carrying
Yeah,
it.
my pleasure. I think we're going to play next time maybe because he doesn't have his guitar and I don't have my tabla, so.
My friend is bringing the guitar, and he's not here yet.
Oh, I see. Okay, in whatever way you are almost happy.
It's great to meet everybody.
It was very nice to meet you.
Okay, you too. Get to that friend request later.
By the way, before
Yeah.
Also, Josh,
came back, your
Yeah.
phone rang first time.
my friend that actually shot himself
Oh wow.
Okay,
was the one that did the lettering
What?
on this.
Wow.
And it's not finished
Give
yet.
me
My friend
phone,
Keith,
somebody's trying to
which
reach
is
me.
weird. I met this kid Keith when I was working at Craftmade. right?
Mhm.
And I looked over and I saw this cottonmouth king shirt. I was like, all right, cottonmouth kings. So I looked, I was like, that's weird, man. He looked like my fucking friend that shot himself, which was really kind of weird. But I, went over and bullshitted with him.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking been friends with him ever since. I even
Wow.
took him over, my friend that shot himself, I took him over to her house